Are we truly seeing a new world order? I actually think we are. And the sad thing is we've tried to push against it, but slowly, surely, a little bit at a time, it's becoming a new world order. If not a new world order, it's becoming a new American order, where we once were a nation that at least understood morals and values. As a Christian conservative, that was important to me. But even if you're not a Christian, you should not want crime. You should not want high inflation, high debts. You should not want so much overregulation to be on you and your family. Today we're going to talk about just a few reasons that we are seeing a true new world order and a new American order, and we should learn to prepare for it. Let's jump into it today. This video starts right now.
We got time on our side. We're in a state of hope. I need you on my fire.
Hey guys, welcome to the Max. Thank you so much for being here today. If you're new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. That's okay, but let us know what you think about this video. Our goal is to always share information that hopefully can help you and your family navigate through a crazy time in our timeline in America. Hopefully we can gain wisdom and see what is best for you and your family. Why do I believe we're seeing a new world order? Well, let's talk about three things that I think you should be looking upon and making sure you're preparing and taking care of your family. These are just three things that we've kind of compiled. It's not for sure all of them, but this is the ones that we're going to focus on today. Number one is the war on our family. We have taken the value of family away from the American way. Everything such as commercials, such as sitcoms, such as every movie that you've watched has either a stupid dad, a debilitating dad, or a dad that does not care. A mom who is overly stressed, usually on some kind of medicine, and kids who do not respect their mothers and fathers. That's just what's being taught to us even on our TV. But let's dive deeper. In California just this week, the legislature has passed not one but 4 bills to remove children from their homes, from their parents, placed in government systems if they do not abide with what the kids who are under 18 who are in the home abide to what they believe they are when it comes to their philosophy or whatever they're being indoctrinated with in school. So we're seeing a legislator take the rights away from parents and taking those kids away from those parents to put them in some kind of government system or government home or some other means to give them everything they want and to make them be able to do whatever they want to do. It's amazing. Our kids cannot buy certain things till they're 18 or 21. They can't vote. They can't drive till they're 16. However, we can allow them to make very definitive, permanent decisions to their body and to their lives. And you as a parent have no say over it in places like California. This is happening more and more. So the war on the family is going to keep on happening because we have no morals and values anymore in our country. And we're seeing a movement away from the family. The family is the first governmental structure, meaning this is one of those things that's okay, father, mother, children. If you didn't come up in a home of father, mother, children, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're wrong. That doesn't mean anything other than it may have been a little bit tougher on you to not see that first step of a body made up to have rules and regulations. And then if we respect that, then our kids tend to respect the rest of the rules and regulations and make sure they understand the basis of morals and values. If we start breaking that down, then we're seeing a new generation. We talk about also all this pharmaceuticals and all the propaganda and types that these kids have been taken in and indoctrinated to where kids don't care to have families anymore. They don't care to have children anymore. There's a new study that came out that said Gen Z is the loneliest, the absolute loneliest generation that we have produced in America. They also said that Gen Z is the most indoctrinated, the most unsure of who they are. Why? Because they've not been taught correctly in the family structure. They've been indoctrinated more than anything. The breakdown of the family is the start of a new world order. Even more than that, a new American order. Number two, we are being led by senior citizens and people who are dementia ridden and lobbyists and politicians that are career based and they're only caring about themselves and not for the freedoms and liberties and not for the American people. There's a study that came out that said that the Pentagon is even worried. Now, not the political side of the Pentagon, not the people who go on stage and say everything that the administration wants to say. There's been talks and rumblings in the Pentagon to say we're going to get ourselves in World War III or a nuclear war or a major catastrophic event, all because we are led by dementia-ridden patients and people who see dollar signs with the movement of militarization or the movement of what we consider a democracy, but really what it is a push of NATO and really the warmongers of these politicians. So we're seeing a push of old individuals that's been there way too long, and they could care less about you because they're so much higher than the typical person that's voting for them. How in the world they've become career politicians just blows my mind. But they are not looking out for America. They're looking out for themselves and their own families. Now, I care for my family. I'm going to be very selfish and say I want my family to have the best. However, I cannot do it to the detriment of someone else. So we have freedoms, we have liberties, we believe in capitalism. So our goal is to work hard, provide for our family, and make sure they have best situation they could have. Does that mean it always works out? No. But it's a goal and a strive that we want to do. So I have no problem with someone saying we want to take care of our family, but it cannot be at the detriment of others, or it can't be to the fact that we're stepping upon others to get there. And that's exactly what our politicians are doing. When these Freedom Caucus are holding out for this debt ceiling thing, I think they should hold out. I think we should shut the government down. Problem is, they're just looking out probably for themselves more than they're actually looking out for the American people, because they will bend over just like they always do, lose their backbone, and have no courage to say, you know what, I'm willing to stand up for the situation that I believe in, the principles of America. Now, because of that, we're seeing a weakened political state, a weakened government state, because it's so lobby filled, so money filled, so pork filled, so overregulated, that it's not actually looking out for the liberty and freedom of America. So that is building a new style government. That's building a new version of America. That's not the America that we once had. I don't believe our founders ever set up that the government was supposed to be as big as it is. Should they protect our freedoms? Should they keep us secure? Absolutely. We're not protecting our freedoms and security because our cities are blowing up, burning down, and crime is running rampant, and our borders are not secure. So the government is working on all this stuff that's gonna fatten their pocket and build a more socialist government, all the while not doing the main two things: protecting freedom, securing our borders. Before we get to number 3, there's a great quote by Abraham Lincoln. It says, "You cannot help men permanently by doing for them what they could do for themselves." Kind of goes back to the government thing. If we allow our government to step in and do everything for us, then we are making a crutch, a subsidy that's going to be drug-induced, crime-ridden, lazy generation that's going to have no aspirations, no dedication, no goals, nothing, because the government's going to give them everything they want. They're going to be spoon-fed garbage, they're going to be spoon-fed propaganda, and they're going to become a new socialist nation. Like I said, if we have a breakdown of the family, government's filling all those roles, we are building a new America that I don't think no one wants. Number 3, this is one that's hitting pretty close, and I think the more we limit, the more you hear the word limit or add extra tax, the more it's going to cause more people not to be able to invest in it or buy. We're going to see a banning most likely of these things, but we've seen California and a lot of other states put in higher taxes on munitions and self-defense tools. We've seen the fact that we are limiting access to certain style self-defense tools. If we keep seeing that happen, you're taking a major freedom away from the American people. To see a new America, they're going to have to take more rights away from the First Amendment and Second Amendment. Well, First Amendment, we're seeing more censorship. We're seeing the fact that it's not absolute, meaning they can decide how far your freedoms go. If we can't have the freedoms to own self-defense tools, they're not saying you may not can own them. What they're going to do is try to limit the access, or they're going to make it so hard where you may not can get it, or they're going to make it so expensive that most people can't buy it. You see how that works? It's not the fact that they're saying we're going to ban it, we're going to cancel the Second Amendment, we're going to cancel the First Amendment. They're not doing that. What they're doing is they're limiting, censoring, and adding more steps for both. More regulation means it's going to be harder for that First Amendment and Second Amendment to actually work. Now, I challenge you. A few things you should be doing. You should be purchasing, stockpiling as much as you can of those things in number 3. You should be building your home as much as you can. If you're working like crazy and you can't devote a lot of time to your children, you need to find time to devote to your children. If you can't date your wife, you need to find a way to date your wife or date your husband. If you have a struggling marriage, work on your marriage. Money and all these issues that we're dealing with stress is going to cause a harder time. If your schools are teaching propaganda and indoctrination, get your kids out of there. If you can't get them out of there, you better learn to be the best PTA that you can be and go to these school board meetings and start making changes. You have to start looking at things different. We have to look at a true reset and not the kind of reset that they're pushing for. We don't need a new world order or a new American order. We need to go back to where we were when things were working. It's amazing. 60, 80, 100 years ago, it seemed like our values were better, Our homes were better. Our money was better. Even if it wasn't that much, even though we didn't have technology, even though we didn't have tons of money, it seemed like we were in a better situation in America. Our debt's going crazy. The movement of all the things that we're doing across the world that we shouldn't be doing. This globalist push, all that is an agenda that's causing more chaos to the American people. If you want an America that's free and gives you all the opportunity that it can, we've got to start with building our homes back up. We've got to start with our families. We've got to make our families see the value of what a family is. That helps build structure, but also morals and values. We have to have new leadership, and we have to have politicians that are not politicians. Meaning you have to have people who make plans, make goals, have aspirations to do their job, but ultimately come back home to their families too. That Washington doesn't become a career. When people say they want to be there forever, that means they're worried about themselves and not about the rest of the people that they're trying to quote unquote represent. We have to have our liberties. First Amendment, Second Amendment are huge. They were set up for a reason to help us always keep the liberties and freedoms that we had. They were set up to protect us. They were set up to secure our rights, to not come to, like every other country, would end up falling right back into some kind of socialist, communist, or some kind of totalitarianism style leadership. We have to keep those rights. So we have to work through that. We don't need a new world order. We need revival. We need a turn back to where we once were. Guys, I challenge you, start looking at ways that you can do better. One at a time, start doing better. We start building better families, we start building better communities, we start building better counties, better cities, and then better states, and then we build better states, we build a better nation. It happens on the ground level, doing grassroots movements, and start looking at politicians saying, you actually work for me. I'm not doing what you tell us to do anymore until you start building better leadership. If you don't start leading us like you're supposed to, being the servant leader that you're supposed to, we're going to find some way it can. You need to stick to that, and you need to make sure that you're not listening to what politicians want you to hear. You need to start looking at actually their actions and what they're doing. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, let us know below. Comment. Give us a thumbs up. It helps us stay in the algorithm. If you don't agree with me, let me know what you think. Are we in a chance where we could see a new world order or a new American order? And what else could we do to make it better? Guys, thank you again for watching. God bless. Happy Homestead, y'all.